Hi, boys and girls. How are you? So, we are going to go over ASI TCI today. And we will go step by step because the scientific method is a step-by-step process. So, A is for ask a question. S is for state your hypothesis. I is for identify your variables, which are your materials. T is for test your hypothesis. C is for collect your data. I is interpret your data. And then you state your conclusion. So, today we're going to be asking the question and answering it through performing an experiment. Now, our question for today that I will be performing the experiment is, what item absorbs the most water? Now, I have a bucket of water. Ooh, it weighs a little bit. And I have some materials in order to do that. So I thought of different things that absorb water. So, my materials. I have a car wash sponge. I have a mop cloth. All these things absorb water. I have a shirt. Gotta try the shirt out. And then in order to measure how much water they absorb, I got a measuring cup and I got a clear bowl. Now, and I have my bucket of water right here next to me. So my materials are what I need. What I need in order to perform this experiment is water, bowl, bucket, measuring cup, mop cloth, shirt, and car wash sponge. Now, you must be thinking, why does Miss Padron have a measuring cup and then another bowl and a bucket? Now, with our procedure, remember our procedure is something that you need a step-by-step process in order to do the experiment, and also a procedure. I should be able to see your procedure and do the same exact thing that you did. That is why a procedure is important. So if someone picks up that procedure, okay, I could do it exactly the same and almost get the same exact results depending on the materials that they have. But if they have the same exact materials, you should be able to get about the same results. Now, before we get into our procedure, and I'm going to tell you how we're going to perform this experiment, let's make a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. We're going to predict what is going to happen. So I have three materials that absorb water. I have my car wash sponge, I have my mop cloth, and I have a t-shirt. Now, I think my prediction is, and I don't know if I'm going to be right or not, that's why we're going to test it. I believe the car wash sponge will absorb the most water. I think that because of how thick it is, sponges are made to absorb water, right? So that's why I came to that conclusion, how thick it is, and sponges are made to absorb water. Right? I know mop cloths are made to absorb some water, but I don't know how much it'll hold. And a t-shirt, I just put a t-shirt in because I know t-shirts absorb water as well, so why not try it out? So, my procedure. I have written down a step-by-step process in order to perform this experiment. So let's look at it. This procedure you should be able to do at home and almost get the same results, okay? So the procedure is a step-by-step process of how to complete the experiment. Place first item in the bucket filled with water. Let the item sit in the bucket for 20 seconds. Place item in empty bowl, which is my empty bowl. Squeeze water out of the item into the bowl. So I'm going to squeeze whatever item I have into this bowl. Then I'm going to pour the water that's in that bowl into my measuring cup so I can measure how much water is in that bowl. Total the amount of water absorbed by each item. Repeat steps for the next item. So I didn't write, oh, do this with the amount. I just said repeat for the next item. So let's get to it. So my first item is going to be, I'm going to use my phone in order to time, as it said in the procedure, to leave each item in the bucket for 20 seconds. So I'm going to put my timer for 20 seconds. And let's start off. Also, when you're doing your experiment, you want to take down some notes, because I know I'm not going to be able to memorize all of them. I might, because it's 3 items, but sometimes you might have more items as well. So I brought my little whiteboard and I wrote down each item. I wrote down mop cloth, car wash sponge, and shirt. So as I go doing each item, I'm going to write down how many cups they absorb. All right, so let's start off with the first one that I wrote down, mop cloth. So I'm going to put my mop cloth in the bucket for 20 seconds. Let me start my timer and go. Let's see. 20 seconds. Brought a napkin too. But you know, with quarantine, we're a little scarce on napkins, so I want you to see. I have it in there. I have 6 seconds left. Let's see. Whoop. All right. So stop. I'm going to put my mop cloth in my empty bucket. Let's put these to the side. I don't want them to get any water so we don't cheat. All right, so I'm going to squeeze out all the water that's in here. I'm going to try my best to get out as much water as I can. All right, I have squeezed almost everything out of this mop cloth. A little difficult. But I think I've gotten almost everything out of it, so I'm going to put the mop cloth to the side. And let's measure. So I have it on my cup side so I can see that's our form of measurement that we're going to use today. I know you've been doing measurement with Mrs. Scopo. All right, so we have about, get a little closer, we have about 9 ounces I'm going to put, which is a little over a cup. So, no, it's about a cup. So let's put a cup. So first I'm going to get one of my markers. And we have 1 cup for a mop cloth. Now, I forgot one key part. Oh, I already said it, the hypothesis. Sorry, I thought I forgot. So we have 1 cup for our mop cloth. Our next item, which is the one that I think is going to absorb the most water, our car wash sponge. So I'm going to dump this water right back in. And I'm going to get my timer. And I'm going to put ready and go. Let's see. Let me show you a little view. We've got about 10 seconds left. It's kind of floating. So I don't know how much water it's really going to absorb. Something that I wasn't really expecting that much. A little twist. So, whoop, there's my timer. Let me stop. Let me get the bowl. And let's see how much water. I think this one's going to be a little easier to squeeze out the water. I don't know. Kind of looks about the same amount. Maybe a little more than the mop cloth. But it looks kind of about the same. Alright. This one was a lot easier to take out the water than the mop cloth. Alright, I'm done. I'm going to put it on the floor. And let's measure. So, let's see. Do you think it's going to beat the mop cloth or not? Oops. Oh, it definitely did. So right now I have 2.5 cups and I still have some left. So I have 2.5 cups. Filled up the whole measuring cup. So I have 2.5, and let's see how much is left in here. Maybe it's about 1/2 cup, so we can make it an even 3. It is an even 3 cups. So I have a little bit. We have a total of 3 cups. 3. So that beats the mop cloth so far. So far, my hypothesis is correct. Now our last item that we're going to test is our t-shirt. Got Miami Heat t-shirt. So I'm going to put my timer. Sorry, I have a little, gotta clean up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna put the shirt in at the same time that I start the timer and go. So let's see. Let me show you. It's kind of sinking a little bit at a time. I've got about 7 seconds left. See how it's going down? Oh, there's my timer. Let me take it out. All right. Oh. So I've got my shirt. I'm going to try to squeeze as much out as I can. Let's not spill the water. Okay. Let's take it apart a little bit. I think I've gotten as much as I can out. Let's get our measuring cup. Let's see how much. Who's gonna win? So far, it's a car wash sponge. But do you think the shirt will win? Let's see. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now, it is exactly, I don't want to spill it, 2.5 cups, and I emptied out the entire bowl. So, our shirt absorbed 2.5 cups. So, we have our mop cloth with 1 cup, our car wash sponge with 3 cups, and then our shirt with 2.5 cups. So we have our data. Let's analyze it. Let's interpret our data. So, analyzing our data is the process of interpreting the meaning of the data we have collected, organized and displayed in the form of a table, bar, chart, line graph, or other representation. So right now, we're going to analyze our data, which is my little chart that I made. So we have our mop cloth with 1, our car wash sponge with 3, and our shirt with 2.5. So now that we have analyzed our data, who's the one with the most? Winning by 1/2 cup is our car wash sponge. So, was my hypothesis right? So we're going to state our conclusion. A part of our conclusion is discussing the overall results of an experimental procedure and explain whether the hypothesis at the beginning of the experiment was correct or not. So, was my hypothesis correct? Yay, it was! I was correct. So, when writing my conclusion, I would say that my hypothesis was correct and the item that absorbed the most water was the sponge, the car wash sponge. So, This week you have, well, next week, on Tuesday, you have due your question, which is one of the 6 questions that I sent that you already did research on. It's the same exact question you're choosing. You have to write your question in that form that I gave your parents. You have to come up with your hypothesis. You have to have an educated guess. Then you have to write your materials in the section D. You have to write all materials that you're going to use. So the only things that you're going to do are write your question, write your hypothesis, and write your materials. At a later date, you will write your procedure, which is your step-by-step process. I had a total of 7 steps to follow. And analyzing your data and coming up with your conclusion are the last step. Now that will be due at a later date. So all you have to do this time around is your question, hypothesis, materials. You're all writing this down in your form, and you're sending me a picture of your materials, okay, for our virtual science fair. So that's what's due May 5th. Question, hypothesis, materials written down, and a picture, okay? And then the rest we'll do at a later date when you actually get to perform your experiment. All right, I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed my science experiment and how I used ASI/TCI for a science experiment. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great day, boys and girls. I miss you very, very much. Love ya.